you're joining us from, with July cold now upon us. It's the greatest pleasure to welcome you to our live series, our LinkedIn live series, where we educate our customers on what they can do to empower their businesses. So today we are having a LinkedIn live, and we will be having our guest speaker who will be joining us. I'll introduce you shortly. Last month, we talked about creativity in entrepreneurship, where we talked about what empowers creativity, empowers innovation, it establishes new solutions to old problems. It empowers the businesses, especially right now, leaders can be able to craft bold visions for their businesses. So if you want to view the previous webinar, kindly visit our YouTube page or go to our Facebook page and get enlightened. So in today's live session, we'll be speaking on successfully leading in business. So companies right now rest on the leaders. The success of companies rests on leaders. Anyone can sit on the corner office, but they can't be effective when it comes to leadership. So business leaders are responsible for setting their goals. They're motivating their team members, embodying the spirit, the culture of the organization or the businesses they are running. So prepare yourself with a pen and a notebook, so as we get to learn from the guest speaker what it takes to lead the businesses from business unusual to business unusual. So it's in this new world economy. Our speaker for today is Jane Amisi. Let me introduce you to her. She's been working with the Kenyan government, where she served over the past 20 years under various capacities. Jane is deeply passionate about the area to do with growth and development. She holds a doctorate degree in the human resource development from the University of Malaya in Malaysia. She serves as a coach, speaker, trainer, and also a part of the members of Maxwell Leadership Certified Team, as well as International Coaching Federation. Jen is also a member of the Early Toastmasters Club. She's serving as the Vice President of Membership. Jen is also working with individuals and government and households, especially in the private sector as well, developing leadership and communication skills in ways to build cohesive teams and ready to be able to break the barriers. Many individuals and organizations have reported they have experienced outcomes from our coaching sessions and our training. So welcome, Dr. Jane Amisi.
Thank you so much, Richard. Thank you for that warm introduction. And my greetings to members, and thank you so much once more for inviting me for this session. This is an area that I believe we are all up to. We all seek personal development. We all seek to really grow and boost ourselves to walk through this really difficult juncture of time and to come out victoriously. So I'm really looking forward for the discussion and looking forward to learn from you all as well.
Great, let's get into it. So the first question you want to ask is, what is the shape of a perfect leader? Does he or she exist?
Oh, great, great. Thank you so much, Richard. Very interesting question, because the shape of a good leader, an effective leader, or maybe a successful leader, I think it only exists in our imagination, because you look at every leader and like, for instance, we are in Kenya right now. We are in this season where we are about to have elections. In fact, it's less than a month, practically less than a month now. And with the interviews going on, you look at them and like, I don't know whether it's only me, but I believe many of us are in that stance where you are looking for a good leader. And who is this good leader? Where are you getting it from? Or is it just in your imagination or in your mind? So this is not a question that is just starting right now. It's something that has been there for a long time. There have been different aspects of leadership, which of course seem to change with time. As we know it, we've come from a season where we are just changing into a new century and into a new view of looking at things. And therefore also in our interactions, including that of leadership. But we've come from those areas where we had autocratic leadership, where me working in the government, we've known about the bureaucracies and the way business happens. But now in this dispensation, who is the kind of leader that we would look for? The leader who would certify, would really provide for the dynamism that is required in the current society. Who is this leader who will be ready to tackle all these kind of of competing needs and really unite kind of people who seem to be each other fighting for competition, trying to bring out their best. So looking at this from my view is that there is really no one shape of a leader. Every good leader is good in their perfect situation. You will adapt to your perfect situation and meet the needs of the people that you minister to in that particular situation. People as well are the key, the foundation of every organization. And therefore, people also vary in what they need and how they are managed. And same to the individual leaders, they also vary in how they approach leadership. So the key aspect or the key point here is that leaders who adapt to their very conditions are the perfect leaders. Any leader who know how to reinvent themselves, how to meet the needs of their people, how to interact with their people, how to provide their trainings, how to provide the structures, how to provide the future that people need and really work with them, take them there and encourage them through the way. To me, that would be the perfect leader. Maybe to add, Richard, in terms of business, it takes a lot of risk-taking. It takes a lot of boldness. It takes a lot of forward thinking as a leader, and that also has to be included.
Wow, that is a very good description of who a good leader is, and we are writing notes and ensuring that we abide to those good character traits. And on to the second question, is it really possible for anyone to become a leader? Are there people who traits make them unfit to be a leader?
I love this topic of leadership because it's very interesting. The more details we have in terms of printout, now the internet is full of aspects of leadership, what a leader is, and everything, and including the description I've given about our scenario in the Kenyan government currently. When we look at the leadership before us and you say no, you've got that visual image in your mind of the kind of leader you expect, what is portrayed in your environment, in your society. For instance, the Kenyan government, what kind of leader do we deserve currently? One that would really help us to manage the resources, help us to reduce our debts, help us to provide good hospitals, good roads, and everything that we need, and provide for us food and help us to improve agriculture. But when you would ask someone, Jane, you really understand what seems to be going, why don't you shoot up there and become a leader? That is something I've always wondered. We all need that leader. We all have the image, that bigger picture of who we really want, but why aren't you getting out? And when you have someone, they'll just give you a smile or a laugh and like, no, I'm not a leader. Why not? He'll maybe tell you that maybe there are people who sit that position better. So, Richard, there are people, or there is this aspect of assumption that leaders are born, or that there is only a reserved position for others. I really quite not agree with that. Though the truth is, basically, all leaders are born. There is no one who will be a leader without not being born, but that is just on a light note. Every one of us is born with a potential, with some innate capability of being a good leader. Each of us has that item of being a leader in us at birth, each person has, just as we have other traits in us. We've got that aspect of leadership in us. But the point is, are we ready to take it up? I remember when I had my last born, that is the most recent, I've got children, and I remember the last one so well, because it's not so far ago. The first time we wanted to start walking, and we were like, oh, this guy is about to start walking, and then he held up an arm and then he fell down, and we realized, and we went there rushing and in jubilation, like, hey, you can do it. And then he was happy, smiling there, and then he tried again and he fell. Before he started crying, we were cheering, hey, come on, man, you can do this, you can do this. He got it. And I think he fell like 3 times. The 4th time, he took like 3 steps, and you were all, yes, you can do it. And that is how it goes. That there is that ability, there is the potential that we can actually achieve the aspect of leadership. But the thing is, do we have the desire enough to help us rise from the inabilities that we think we have, from the inabilities that others tell us we have, from what we think is our inadequacy, from whatever we perceive as a weakness? Do we have that strong desire to help us to push up, fall down and wake up, make mistakes and rise up and continue pursuing our dream? Because I strongly believe that when you've got that desire and when you've got that will to be a leader, you can develop this. You can develop this. And why we need to do this even more is that everything rises and falls on leadership. That is a quote by John C. Maxwell. Everything rises and falls on leadership. Why we are really looking forward to this season is because we are looking for someone who will change the trajectory of Kenyan society, where we are going. How fast can we improve? How fast can we develop our youth? How fast can we rise up into a developing nation? The kind of leaders that we'll elect today, the kind of leaders who stand up, have the potential to change our lives. They've got the potential to improve on our hospitals, business, churches, and literally every aspect of our life. So it is also true that the chances we take as leaders to bring ourselves really out there, to improve, to work on ourselves, also increases our chances for positive contribution. Someone quoted that good leadership adds to our effectiveness. It will subtract to our weaknesses, divide the workload that we feel that we got, and multiplies our impact. And that is what leadership is. And this is through acceptance. This is through viewing ourselves from a sense of willingness and action. It is more than the desire again. We got to live and we got to walk through it. So to me, leadership, yes, everyone is born with that potential, but it is only those who place themselves out there, put in effort to develop themselves, people who will come from good leaders, and eventually they'll be great leaders just as we see them today. All the people believe in businesses, those were beliefs that they had. Those were just imaginations that they had that, I can do this thing. It crossed their mind and they ventured into the game. They fell severally, but because of consistency, because of the sense of determination, because of the enthusiasm within them, we see them today as great leaders. I believe we've got all the stories around for us to learn from, to see, and to encourage ourselves to really to also look deep within and bring the leader within us.
Wow, such a very good explanation, and the example you've given is such a good throwback for Thursday. You can remember how you're driving a bicycle and you had to try several times, and you had that parent who was motivating you, and so anyone can become a leader, as you've had viewers, and that willingness and drive to achieve that goal is what will bring you to be a leader. So thank you for that. And now that question is about, does the leader need to be motivated? How can leaders maintain themselves to stay motivated?
Great as well. That is closely linked to number 2 that we've just talked about, the falling down, the challenges. And this is real. I like, if you'd allow me to give an example, though not really to get into the opinions of who is who in politics and that. And I do that because it's the current times that we are facing. And when we elect leaders, that is where we are. That is the real leadership that we are. I like the courage of the former senator. He's still the senator because there is no election yet, Sakaja. I like that despite whether it's right or wrong on whatever it is, I like the kind of spirit that he has put forth. There are these challenges that come every day, whether you deserve it or you don't deserve it. And by the way, the challenges that come to people in businesses, challenge that comes to people in life itself, the challenges that come through relationships, no one deserves them. It may not be your fault, could have done nothing wrong, but the challenges are meant to be there to help us to grow. They are meant to serve the lesson, the purpose for which they are there at that particular time. That purpose, it is up to the person who is affected to look for that purpose. So for you to look for it, for you to overcome the purpose, you've got to get a sense of motivation. You've got to get certain drive that keeps you going. What is this drive that keeps you going? In business, if you had a passion, if I have a passion, I'm a speaker, I'm a coach and a trainer. It's not easy. And I believe same to your organization. Nothing is easy. Nothing is easy. You make adverts there, you call people, you invite them. You try to speak. I remember the first time, long time ago, I did everything. I prepared very well for a presentation. But you get there and all of a sudden you realize you've just missed a point. And your mind is there in between. Do you catch up? Do you slow down to remember the point? Or do you pretend it's still there and you are going as you had planned? And in that confusion, you realize the audience are looking at you. And you feel embarrassed and you can even walk out of the stage. But such things are there. And it's your ability to overcome them. When you know why you are doing that practice, then you can continue going. So what drives people? What drives leaders to continue? What drives someone to be a leader? First of all, even before you stay in the game, there has to be some goal. And this goal is different for so many people. There are people who go for power. There are people who go for money. There are people who go for just to rule over people, to feel good, satisfaction. I was once a leader. And then we've got people who really have the genuine desire to serve, to make an impact, to make a difference in people's lives. So I strongly believe that leaders need to be motivated just because of the amount of things that they experience in life, that they experience in business, they experience in politics, that we experience in our families, that we experience as youth. We need that motivation. And here's the interesting part, Richard. To me, we need that motivation. That is right. That is sure. And this motivation is really not coming from someone else. It is coming from yourself. So we need that motivation, but this motivation is inborn. It is something, motivation is not something that someone will give you. The talk we are doing currently is not going to give someone motivation. But whenever you internalize what you've had, whenever this talk, a point, resonates with something you had thought about earlier, or it connects with something that has just risen into your thought, it motivates you. It strikes a chord. It gives meaning to you and gives a sense of, this can work. So this can happen. And I believe that is what brings motivation. During our younger days, I believe, Richard, you were still so young, you were not there, I'm sure. We were motivated in uncertain and unlikely ways to you people. Our parents you'd get a sharp slap before you know it. You cannot say no. Today, my boy, that same last one, can tell me, no, mommy, I don't feel like doing this. By then, you had no rights. It would be a good slap, good beating, and you get up. And you go ahead and do it. And that itself was a motivation. It was a hard one. The relevance I find in these two cases, then and now, is that by then you were forced to see. Currently, we need to see the need to be motivated. We need to see the need to keep going on beyond whatever obstacle that is between us as leaders, to take up all the pressure that we need as individuals. That is very important. And as I say, no one is going to give you that motivation. It's got to come from you. It is easier for someone to say you feel motivated than saying you feel into action. No one feels like doing something really. No one really feels like, or it's very rare that all the time you're motivated to do it, but the feeling, you can develop that feeling. You can develop the feeling bit by bit, step by step, to get into work that you do. And therefore, my policy when I need to motivate myself, it is not always that you are invited to do something and you feel like doing. It is not always that you rise up and go to work, but because you've got to focus at the end of the tunnel, this is it that is coming up. That itself motivates you to just rise up and to do it. Just to rise up and go for it. And some of the few things that I would say motivate a leader is that passion. Something that you wake up to every day, something that ignites that fire within you again. If I may just ask something that may just bring that is, what is success to you? If it's in business, 10 years from now, you've succeeded and you are the to-go-to person. What is it like to you? Is it something that you'd rise up to go and get into the business today in rejected, no finances, you keep going, you keep searching? What would you lose by not getting it? What would that mean to your family? So unless you answer these questions to really realize that this is my passion, and passion is simply not liking it. It's simply not a desire, but it is something you are ready to fight. It's something you are ready to die for. Your passion will keep you going and motivated. Another one are the principles, your beliefs, your morals, the gifts, or even the personality that you are. Something that resonates with you quite well in your communication. That is Jane. I read the writing and I know that is Richard's writing, meaning you live it, something that is within you. And then you go to practice, something that you practice day in, day out. I'm a member of Early Bird Toastmasters, and the Jane you see here speaking today is not the Jane I was before I joined Toastmasters. But I managed this in Toastmasters. There is this habit of practice. You get a speech, you practice it with a mentor who is ready to support you. You practice it, you present it. If it's good, you go ahead. If it's not so good, you repeat it. You practice, and you get a wonder. You get a masterpiece of what you wanted to do. You become an expert in what you want to do. And the people around you, as a leader, there are people who will need to motivate you. No one succeeds alone. So you got to have a team, and your team can wind you up, they can wear you down. So it is upon the leader to find people he can build around him, people who support him, people who believe in him, people who complement him. And I think Richard, that is rich to me. That is rich to me, that you got a passion, you got principles to stand by, you can practice, you got people to move around with, people who can lift you up. With that, I believe you can never fall down as a leader. You will always be motivated. Back to you.
Thank you. That was really nice explanation. You have to be internally passionate about what you're doing, what your business is, what your work is, so that it can ensure that it motivates you daily, that you're going back to it and achieving the goals that you set. So we are running out of time, so I'll have the last question. How do successful leaders boost their business without causing burnout?
I must say, Richard, that it is sad. It is unfortunate the way things have turned, and especially the last 2-3 years with the COVID season. It's a very painful moment for business owners. I must say that, and I really congratulate people who put in their effort out there, day in, day out, even without the very hope of getting something, people still move out. I always recount a gentleman I saw, I would call him so. I met during those first seasons of COVID, and we went to the butcher to buy some meat and all that. And it was full. It was those first days that we were stocking up everything, sugar, milk. I wonder if it would have lasted. But then this gentleman came to the place, and the place was full. And he just moved in front and told the owner of the shop that, excuse me, I want a job. It was not that direct, but I felt the pain of this guy. I felt this guy really needs this job. If I had, I would have given him the chance, but I didn't have. And that was the season of everyone seeking alternative jobs that way. In business, people do it. People die there. People look for finances. You see your business falling and you don't believe it. You've tried everything, and this causes stress. This is the second year. Some people are still deep down in the stress. It's just overwhelming for everyone. It's overwhelming in business. It's overwhelming even for us in government. It is overwhelming. The amount of work. My ministry where I am has been digitizing for the last almost 5 years. And we were in computers like Saturday, Sunday, and it was during the COVID. We had no chance. We never missed a day during the whole COVID season. We went to work. And it reached a time when I didn't want to know, I didn't want to care, I didn't want to, whether it was good, whether it was bad. And then I realized, this is not true. Something bad is happening. And these are the results of burnout. So how do we people get out of this? How do we manage this? I think that is a better question, because it is a worldwide problem that people feel these changes. The three main pillars or the three main characteristics is exceeding fatigue, exhaustion, and then the feeling of cynicism. You are detached from your work, and then a sense of ineffectiveness. You feel whatever you do is not amounting to anything much. And this affects our health. It affects our relationships back in the house. And some of the things that we can do is just have a purpose. Purpose. Have that sense of purpose to add value, however small it is. Make your mark there. Make your mark there. My brother called me last time and I talked to him and I sensed a sense of burnout. First of all, he wanted some money to go and boost his business. And then he wanted to know which business to expand. And then all of a sudden he wanted to go back to school. And he said his business is not doing well. He doesn't see himself earning anything. And his age is catching up with him and his family is growing. I told him I'll have a talk with him. That is a sense of burnout. So whatever little that you can add value to at that particular time, it will make a difference to you. It will make a difference to people's life. Do that. And then you can minimize the issue of multitasking. There is this aspect that if this business is not working, I can have that, and I can have that, and I can have that, and you're managing the whole 4 or 5 businesses. Seek help. Add value to someone also by inviting them to be, you collaborate with them, let them take a portion of what they can handle. Share ideas there, and that will help you get out of that possibility of burnout, or if you're already in it, it will reduce. Then schedule regular breaks. Schedule regular breaks. Have some time off. Don't be in it. It's not going to grow in one day. It's not going to grow in one day, week. It will take time. And another important aspect that I'd like, there are so many ways. I'm just talking about maybe the key ones. We've always sought after balance in life. You want a balance, work balance. It came as work balance. You want to have your family. You want to where you're working near home. You want to be close to your children. You want to be close to your spouse. You want to enjoy your work. And if you're a woman professional and you want to have all this, and if we face it, truly, this is not possible. It's not possible to balance life. These are all competing goals. It is just stressful, and it adds the burnout completely. You'll be exhausted, truly exhausted. What you'd rather look for is to have harmonious relationship between your work and your family, between your work and your rest, between your work and your happiness. I think when we look at harmony, then you schedule the things that can really connect. When you fulfill one purpose by serving another one, it is harmony. When I have the time to take a break from my job and call my family, When I have time to treat myself, one lunch break with my friends, it is harmony. Through that work, I can still have pleasure in my life, personal life. I can still join with colleagues. I make friends with them, such that your work is somewhere like a supportive group where it is not just the output that is required, but you've got friends, but you've got a boss who is supportive to you. That is, you seek to create harmony. And it relieves people a bit. It relieves the energy, the negative energy a bit. And I think, be present where you are. I normally drive through Mombasa Road, and I appreciate that. I appreciate our new road. I appreciate that I'm so lucky to pass next to the airport, that the plane is literally almost landing when I'm just like meters away. I appreciate that. And also may organize your priorities. Organize the priorities. And I think, Richard, those are good to go with. Those are good to start with, to have a sense of purpose, to minimize multitasking, to schedule regular breaks, and to create harmony. And another one, maybe you can increase your power of saying no and power of saying now. Say no to so many other things that are not relevant, and do now what you can do. Back to you, Richard.
Okay, that is very nice. You've given us very good pointers, which I'm sure you've taken notes and we are going to implement them. Let's take breaks. Let's stop multitasking and also make sure we are prioritizing the work you're doing. So we have some very good questions coming in on our audiences, but we'll take two because of time. So number one comes from a person called Charles. He's asking, do leaders need to be liked in order to be successful?
Do leaders need to be liked to be successful? Not really, not really. There are so many successful leaders who are not liked, but they are successful. So the issue here, I think, I may take the issue of being liked in terms of meeting the needs, because I believe I would like someone for a reason. And for a leader is someone who we believe, we trust to take us from point A to point B. So the like here, to me, like is an emotional word, but I believe it can carry that fulfillment of a need, because it's not, I'm not liking the personality, the face of the leader. And I believe liking here is the totality of the leader, the wholesomeness. And especially this comes into character. Mostly this comes into the character of the leader. Is it a likable character? Is it an enjoyable? Is it someone who cares for people? Is it someone who is trustworthy? Is it someone who can fulfill our needs? So in that manner of the need, when you stand up as a leader, you need to be able to stand out because you are caring for people, because you're going to add value in their needs, because you are taking them from point A, which is not so good, to such a great point B that they're all looking forward to. So in that manner of liking, a leader has to meet the needs of the group, whatever group they're leading.
Great. So we've talked about having great value, adding value to your team members. We have a questions about feedback. What do leaders need to do to get candid feedback from their teams in order to improve?
Great. Feedback is very important. Feedback is very important. I was reading somewhere that leaders either, there are either two ways. There are people who micromanage people. And no matter the project that they carry, no matter the project that is put forward for the team, you are a team there, but it is his idea that is put forward. It is the process that is described that is supposed to be there. And whether the goal is achieved or not, that is again not to him. And then there are others who just leave you no direction, no nothing. They just hands-off kind of leadership. So the two really do not help people. But that aspect of feedback is very, very important. That we know you are very clear in describing, clarifying the goal of whatever project we need to undertake. And For you to clarify is a discussion, it's a conversation. And conversation is a connection, a kind of communication that I understand what you are trying to give back to me. And if this is not there, either types of leadership will just prevail. Either one will be forcing you to do what you don't know you don't want, or another one will have left you at your mercy, your own self. So for effective feedback to be there, they need to have a dialogue. They need to have a dialogue. And recently, we've got this aspect of coaching where we've got real conversations between leaders and their followers, between employers and their employees. And in coaching, there is an inner conversation where the leader does not tell you what to do, but they ask more of questions so that you can inwardly do a retrospection, so that you can reflect within yourself. It creates the aha moment where meaning some sort of understanding, some inner awareness is being created or you've created. And this inspires you. It builds your confidence. It builds you to take up next what is coming out. So I would recommend that coaching aspect in leadership, that all leaders embrace the aspect of coaching so that feedback is received from both ends, because it will be a conversation.
Thank you, Jane. That has been very informative, especially now that leaders need to take up coaching to get feedback, and we would like to end it there. So for everyone else who we've not answered, we'll make sure to get to your responses on the chat comments below. So thank you so much, Jen. We've come to the end of this informative discussion. You've demystified leadership in businesses, and we'll be able to get some very good pointers for this. So do you have any closing remarks before we end?
Yes, I'd like really to appreciate you. Thank you for such reflective questions. By answering them, I feel I need to resonate more with the areas that I discussed, and also they become more clearer to me. And thank you so much for bringing this topic to members, for relating with them, especially in that aspect of burnout. There's so many people out here who really experience such things, and they really don't know what to do or even where to go. So I believe you've got a forum where they can reach out. Many of us have got forum that they can reach out. I do also leadership programs that we do monthly. I've got a leaders forum where we meet 3 times a week, the first week, second and third week, and we meet 8 p.m. Saturdays, East African times. So you can join us. Other than that, we do coaching as well on an individual basis and in groups. So we are all, you've got my numbers, you can share with them. But members, I think it is that sense of purpose, that sense of passion. We can always be whom we want to be. We can be the leader we want to be. And that leadership is deep within you. Bring it up.
Wow, thank you so much. Now, Springboard Capital, we are a lending institution. We lend to all your finance needs, from business capital to buying assets, from import duty. And why Springboard Capital, you may be asking? We are very customer friendly. We structure solutions to cater for your needs. We give you flexible repayment period. So we thank you very much, Ms. Dr. Jane Amisi, for this very good lunch plate, a very warm and hot lunch plate you've given unto us this lunch hour. And this is time to say goodbye. So see you next time. Have a good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining us.